You think you are anonymous. You think that because you use a VPN, browse in incognito mode, and tape over your webcam, that you are ghosting the machine. That belief is adorable. It is also dead wrong. While you worry about which cookies to accept on a recipe blog, a single company has already built a digital twin of your entire life. They know who you sleep with. They know what you vote for. They know where you will be next Tuesday at 4 p.m., often before you do. They name themselves after a cursed magical object used by a dark lord to survey and corrupt the world. That wasn't a joke. It was a statement of intent. In reality, your data isn't just being sold for ads. It is being weaponized for extraction. And Peter Thiel is profiting from your ignorance. Welcome to Digital Ruins, excavating the hidden history of technology to clarify your world today. To understand why your privacy is a corpse, we have to go back to the hysteria of 2003. The world had broken. The Twin Towers were gone. The Pentagon was smoking. The United States intelligence community was panic-blind. The NSA and CIA were drowning. They had too much data, emails, phone calls, bank transfers, but no way to connect the dots. They were looking for needles in a stack of needles. They needed a way to synthesize reality itself. And in Silicon Valley, a man who had just made millions solving a very specific problem realized he held the keys to the kingdom. Meet the PayPal Mafia. Before Elon Musk was launching rockets, he and Peter Thiel were trying to solve a crisis at PayPal. Russian mobsters were bleeding them dry. Thiel's engineers built a system that didn't just look at the transaction, it looked at the pattern. The relationship between the IP address, the shipping location, and the speed of the typing. They called it IG, Inspector Gadget. In May 2003, Thiel has an epiphany. If this software can find a mobster stealing $50, it can find a terrorist planting a bomb. The logic is identical, only the stakes change. He co-founds Palantir Technologies, but Silicon Valley investors, they hated it. They wanted social media, not spycraft. So Thiel went to the only investor who understood the value of total surveillance. In 2005, In-Q-Tel, the venture capital arm of the Central Intelligence Agency, wrote a check for an estimated $2 million. This is the moment the timeline splits. This is when tech stopped being about connecting people and started being about hunting them. The CIA didn't just buy software, they bought a philosophy. So, how does the eye actually work? Most people think of data like a filing cabinet. You have a folder for medical and a folder for criminal. Palantir doesn't do folders. It does ontology. The software, known as Gotham for spies and Foundry for corporations, ingests everything. It takes the messy, chaotic reality of the world and converts it into objects. It integrates disparate databases that were never meant to talk to each other. It connects a license plate reader scan in Detroit to a credit card swipe in Dubai, cross-referenced with a Facebook like from 3 years ago. It's not a search engine. It's a synthesis engine. It doesn't tell the analyst what happened. It tells them who matters. They call it the digital twin. If the software says you are a threat, the reality on the ground bends to match the software. The map becomes the territory. We have seen this before. In the late 19th century, when the government was too weak or too bureaucratic to crush labor unions and track dissidents, they didn't do it themselves. They hired the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons were a private army, accountable to no constitution, only to the contract. They were the eye for the industrialists. Palantir is the digital Pinkerton. It allows the state to bypass the friction of due process. Or consider the Panopticon, designed by Jeremy Bentham in the 1700s, a prison where the guard can see every prisoner, but the prisoners can never see the guard. Because you might be watched, you act as if you are watched. Palantir automated the Panopticon. They don't need a guard in the tower anymore. The algorithm is the guard. And it never sleeps, it never blinks, and it never forgets a face. You might be thinking, I'm not a terrorist, so who cares? Let's talk about Operation Laser. In 2011, the LAPD launched the Los Angeles Strategic Extraction and Restoration Program. Note the medical language, extraction, like removing a tumor. Using Palantir systems, the LAPD generated lists of people who were likely to commit crimes. Not people who had committed crimes, people that the computer said would. They assigned point values to human beings. You got points for having a tattoo, points for being stopped by police even if you weren't arrested, points for knowing someone else with points. If your score got high enough, you became a chronic offender. The police would show up at your job. They would park outside your house. They would stop you for jaywalking. They harassed these data points until they either left town or snapped. It was Minority Report without the psychic bathwater. It was mathematical persecution. And it didn't stop terrorism. It just criminalized existence in poor neighborhoods. And now, with Palantir Foundry, this logic is coming for your job. They are tracking your keystrokes, your bathroom breaks, your efficiency rating. You are not an employee. You are a malfunctioning node in the supply chain, waiting to be debugged. This is not an accident. This is a business model. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, doesn't hide this. He has explicitly stated, "Our product is used to kill people." He believes the West must have the biggest stick, or the bad guys will win. But look deeper. Look at Peter Thiel. In his manifesto 0 to 1, he wrote, "Competition is for losers." Thiel doesn't want to compete in a market. He wants to own the infrastructure of the state. When you become the operating system for the CIA, the FBI, the Army, and NATO, you cannot be fired. You cannot be boycotted. They have achieved what every corporation dreams of: vendor lock-in on a civilizational scale. When Google employees revolted against Project Maven in 2018, refusing to build AI that analyzes drone footage for kill strikes, Palantir didn't hesitate. They picked up the contract. They picked up the weapon. They don't want to cure the disease of eternal warfare. They want to sell the management software that keeps the war running efficiently forever. The Eye of Sauron is no longer fiction. It is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange, ticker symbol PLTR. They are betting that in a chaotic world, you will trade your freedom for safety. They are betting that they will watch everything as long as the Amazon packages arrive on time and the bad guys stay on the news and off your lawn. You cannot opt out of the database. You are already in it. But you can understand the architecture of your own prison. The technology breaks, but the history remains. Subscribe to Digital Ruins to understand the pattern.